neighbors, thank you so much for joining us on the Power Breakfast Show on Power 102 Digital Fullcast in this morning. We just heard from Snuffleupagus Paul. We'll hear from Richie Rich. We'll hear from Wen. We'll hear from Rube. My name is Steve Khan. We'll keep you company until 9 o'clock this morning. All right, getting straight into the WTs. Let's see what's happening traffic-wise. You got a little traffic on the Solo after Freeport, heading towards Sugar Guanas. That main road is beginning to build. And, of course, from Charlieville, straight up towards the interchange, you've got some traffic. All right, going to Santa Rosa. You've got some traffic. O'Meara Road is building up for those coming out onto the highway. Maloney to Piarco, Trin City to Huey. And that's pretty much clear until you get to Valsade, where you'll step on your brake and slow going into Port of Spain, not bumper to bumper. Eastern Main Road, your hotspot will be by Arima Old Road. You head through Tacarigua, Macoya, and go through Q-Rep. And that's it. Maraval, you're beginning to build for those coming out of Santa Cruz, and nothing out of Dago. Got no accidents to tell you about. All right, let's use some hellos via YouTube. Let's see. First off the gate, Oliver Man Warren, good morning. Trinity in Boston. Mo Gaines out in Aruca. Doreen Pear, D. Pear, good morning. Pauline Buckmeyer, good morning from Florida. Miss Ingrid in Tucson, Arizona. We got Ray out in West Palm Beach, Florida. Marcia Rock, good morning to you. Always locked on. Rena Budu Jennings, always locked on as well. Good morning to you all. Dancing Queen just snuck in. Dancing Queen. I'll sing. Maybe rain will come. And if rain comes, we'll say thank you for Steve for singing. All right. So good morning to you, Dancing Queen. All right. Good morning to you, Snuffleupagus Pablo.
Morning, Steve. Morning, everyone.
Your sinus is killing you this morning.
Actually, it's not the sinuses, you know.
Oh.
I was just lazy to get up and turn off the fan last night, and it blew on me all night, and I went into a sneezing fit about 15 minutes ago. So I guess the Sahara dust is high, and so I sound nasal and congested. Fortunately, it's not the flu. I know it's not the flu. But you know when you should I get up and
flu going around, man.
I should have gotten up and turned off the fan. And I had the fan blowing on me all night.
That happens. Let's say good morning, going on to Wen, back in the shores of TNT.
Morning, gentlemen. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. And good morning, listeners and viewers. Lord, I thought I got rid of all these pop-up nonsense. It's still coming up.
Oh, jeez.
Blog lines. Why are they popping up? You hearing that?
Of course.
Because of those sites you visit.
Yes, Mendel.
I don't visit any sites.
That's the computer infection because the sites you visit. That's the name of them setting it up on your phone. Oh, good. Like you really visited sites, boy.
You well had fun.
Vitamin. Well, look at it. It's crazy. It's going crazier this morning.
What you can do is turn off the alert noise and save us, please.
Yeah, well, I had a mute method. I can't turn off the alert noise. It's just going non-stop.
Oh, Lord.
Where do I turn off alert noises?
In the settings.
I go settings, alerts. Just type in alerts and you'll figure it out. Yeah.
I'll carry my computer to an expert and let somebody deal with this.
Stop visiting those sites.
Is those sites. Good morning, Nigel. 5:30. Good morning to you from Orlando. Oh, geez, I didn't give the temps. It's 26 degrees at Piarco International Airport, 27 at Crown Point. It is 9 in Toronto. Oh, it went down 1. 8 in Toronto. Miami, you're at 27. Orlando. All right, so Nigel. Orlando is 24. We go by Celsius and not Fahrenheit. New York, you're 14. Atlanta, 16. London, windy and 20. Tampa, 24. Washington, 14. Our good friend Ellie, Los Angeles, 18 degrees. All right. And let me see if the Met Office updated their weather for today. I'm just checking here. 6:12. Nobody updated the weather. Okay. They're saying yesterday they said that It's going to be partly cloudy conditions are expected with scattered showers, 40 to 60% medium chance, a few heavy showers. Okay. Is that Richie Rich we're hearing already on the highways and on the byways?
Yeah, good morning, guys. And good morning to our listeners and viewers.
Hi, Richard.
Hey, morning, Wendell.
How are you? Welcome.
Yeah,
You're early today.
Yeah. I'm on the road already, so.
Yeah, how's the traffic out there, though? Because I have to be heading down the road almost every morning now, too.
Not bad at this point.
Yeah, not too bad right now. Give it 15 minutes.
All right.
You know.
Yeah.
By the time it's 6:30 hits, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Especially if you leave it from south or central, 5 minutes is a big difference.
Anyway, today is September 20th. Am I correct?
Yeah.
This month is going by very quickly. We are speeding into Libra season. 2 days again, and it's Libra season. The best time of the year.
Oh, yes. It's the most wonderful time of the year. I'm praying for rain. I'm singing for rain, people.
No. Leave. I actually don't mind the sun. I mean,
No,
I've gotten an electricity bill, and it has doubled.
Yeah. I don't want mine at all. I do not want to see mine at all.
It has doubled. It's almost like if TNTech decided we're doubling it anyway. You understand?
I was speaking to somebody in TNTech. Well, one of the workers in TNTech, and she was saying that this is, in all of her time, and she's been there for over 10 plus years, this is the most that she's ever seen people's bills.
Yeah.
And she says it's across the board. Everybody's bills are, have gone up. And I suppose a lot of it is ACs on because of the heat.
But
as you said,
next bill though to go back down because I wasn't here for a bit at that time.
Yeah. As you said, air condition, Richard, I don't know if our listeners could help me out a bit. I need to get a 24 BTU air conditioned unit. There are 86 brands of air conditioned units. I want one that works well and is priced reasonably. And should I go the regular or inverter? Maybe all
AC is kind of reasonably priced now,
No, brother man. I've been doing some pricing and research. No, brother man. Yeah.
I find that prices of air conditioned units are pretty okay now. It's the brand that you don't know about because there are a lot of different brands now.
Yeah, but I don't know how important brands are because a lot of them are made by a lot of
company.
Yeah, by the same components are by the same company. So I remember speaking to an AC guy, and he says that a lot of wealthy people are buying those cheap ACs because they know they have to replace their ACs in 7 or 8 years or whatever it is. They're going to have to replace it. And having a higher end brand just doesn't make sense because you still have to replace it too.
Well, to be fair, I have had a where did it come from now? All of a sudden.
Again, we got an echo from you, Paul.
But it seems to have gone now. I've had a Toshiba air conditioning unit for 11 years, and it works very well.
Yeah.
But you have to service it.
You have to service.
Yeah.
You have to service every 3-4 months. Make sure you service it. I've had peaks for over 14 years. My only problem with peaks is that it leaks.
4 months is a bit much, Steve.
That's a bit much. I do every 6 months.
No, but well, let me tell you, when
a year should be good, man.
When I called, so I called Guevara and Company, same guys we use here, amazing guys, and I used to tell them come every 3 months, and they said, Steve, you need to service this every 3 months, I said, all right, we'll go for 4. You need to service this every 4 months. It's still kind of clean, so I went for 6, and they say, okay, it now is a good time, so let's go with 6 months to clean the units. So I said, okay.
Stepping from that discussion, I suggest the question this morning because the opening of the law term for the industrial court was yesterday, and Honorable Deborah Thomas Felix spoke a lot about climate change, and they suggested that employers should be putting systems in place to ensure, including working conditions, to ensure that employees are comfortable with this heat wave, and also maybe work from home policy situation. And this and when there's conversation about the electricity bill a while ago, which everybody's going to face this month.
Oh, yes.
Should TNTech give people a discount or something? Residences. No, I'm saying residences and schools. You know that a particular school in Port of Spain was getting parents and the PTA to donate units to the classrooms. And you know what the issue of why the school didn't do it?
They couldn't pay the bill.
They probably think they won't be able to pay the bill.
Yeah, I would imagine.
So while the PTA will give them the raise funds to get the units in the classrooms to make the students comfortable. And this is a so-called prestige school.
Yeah.
Not far from our office. And yeah. So I mean, so the electricity bill is a reality.
Yeah.
And people, and I don't know if the state could, if it's a subsidy, if it's a discount for the next couple of months, because it is not a luxury. It's actually a health issue,
And just seeing this as a way to try to get some extra money, you going and
yes, and well, talking about TNTech, the Regulated Industries Commission, I think before the end of the year is supposed to. Well, they were already telegraphing that they were going to raise the electricity rates and do it monthly. So I don't know what the point of the consultations were, because basically they had made up their mind. So it was like it was really like it was. That's how it comes across. But they are saying that I read that maybe a couple of weeks ago. Before the end of the year, they want to implement it or give the green light, and that bills will now be monthly.
That don't mean the cabinet can take a decision and instruct the Minister of Public Utilities to say TNTech, given what the country is facing in terms of increased temperatures on a constant basis and the impact on electricity bills for families and schools, you understand? I guess the hospital too, in some instances.
Well, part of what they need to do, Paul,
electricity bills will be reduced by 5%.
But part of what they need to do, Paul, is update the legislation with regard to solar. So the PTAs can make sure raise funds to put in solar panels that will deal with the electricity bill in terms of putting in those systems.
That's part of the solution, but for the immediate situation.
Well, for the
Because
immediate thing,
the electricity bill is an immediate situation that people will have to face, or are facing already, I should say, because I'm sure some people already have their bills cycles are imminent. You understand?
Yeah, because we've been watching CPL cricket, and there's a commercial out from Barbados telling you to go solar and make your home solar power.
But Steve, what Richard said is what is applicable in Trinidad and Tobago. It is cumbersome and a long-winded process because of the laws in Trinidad and Tobago to just put solar panels and lock it into the electricity. You can't just put it on, breaking the law.
Right.
The law states that TNTech is the sole provider of electricity.
Yeah.
So if you have to get permission from TNTech and get inspection, it's a long, drawn-out, dreary process.
And TNTech bills are way behind. I got my bill in my mailbox this month, September month, right? And my bill is saying pay by 9th of August. I said, what kind of craziness is this? The bill says
come on time, but
due by 9th of August, but I got it in my mailbox less than a week ago.
Well, things are always delayed in your box, so.
It does. It does.
It's not the first time something has been delayed.
It just have a way of lingering. It have a way of lingering.
Lingering. It take long to come in. It take long to go out.
Oh, Jesus.
So now I have to rush and pay this bill that clearly doubled. You understand? I was boasting the other day how my bill went down. and now my bill has gone back. It's
No,
double.
but I don't see anything wrong with because of the immediate situation we're facing. I'm presuming, even though we're in the tropics, when the winter months hit in the north and the winds start to come down from there, the temperatures will go down, even for us. You understand? Because the wind ain't coming from space, it's coming from the temperate areas. Not so?
Yeah.
That's basic geography. So it was not going to last forever, but certainly for August, September, October, give us a 5% discount.
Yeah. Look, I get into some messages.
So is that your question, Paul? That TNTech should give a discount?
I'm suggesting.
You suggest
or were you suggesting the work from home thing with that
work from home can't work for everybody.
No.
And even if you work from home,
guys?
you have to have AC home too.
True.
So the bill will be still applicable. The increase in cost will still applicable even if you're working from home.
Yeah.
True.
Let's say good morning. Good out to Slick Money Grip, Ms. Maloney, Carol Guevara, Winston Jones, Rena Budu Jennings says Wendell, you were sorely missed. Brenda Isaac, good morning. Randy Kelly, good morning. Alistair Hart, good morning. He says my TNTech bill went from $450 to $825.
It's going to double.
Rita Budu Jennings says, I do not have AC. I'm not affected by high TNTech bill.
Rena, you living in the mountain?
Rena, you have no AC?
Survive without AC, girl?
Trinidad Margot, good morning to you as well.
Morning, Alistair. I listened to your very tear-jerking story yesterday, your experiences yesterday. I don't know. That program, excellent program yesterday, guys, with Rondell Fields. Excellent program. I'm sorry I missed it, but I had to call it.
You had me rolling yesterday with that message you sent. Apparently, I-95 interviewed Melita. I forget her name.
Ferrano or something so?
Materano. The Venezuelan national, who apparently, from all indications, is also a Trinidadian national. She's been living here 6 years. And ensued a sort of controversy when she won the opportunity to represent this country at a Miss Grand Something beauty contest, saying that she's as trainee as anybody else, and she is here 6 years and she is capable of representing this country. Well, apparently the hosts on the show ask her what is trying to be good watchwords, and what she said. I have to go now.
I have to leave now.
And they ask her what is your favorite dish from Trying to Big?
That was not that true. I saw that on somewhere else. When they asked her what's her favorite dish, she said it's a mug.
Well, you all know that there are plenty. Yeah, I know there are quite a few Trinidadians that don't know what the watchwords are.
Well, you just have to watch that program and Daniel.
They don't have to represent the country in a beauty contest. That's the difference. Okay, I'd imagine if you're going to represent the country, you should at least learn the watchwords.
What is your favorite dish?
Then they might ask her who is the prime minister, and she might say Nicolas Maduro.
Well, as I said,
you should know something about the country if you're gonna enter a beauty contest to represent the country. So while you may be absolutely right, Trinidadians, there may be some Trinidadians who don't know all these civic information. If you're gonna represent the country, you should know.
But I didn't see it. But did she prove that she was a citizen?
She has to be.
No, nobody has proven that yet.
I think she's a resident. I don't know if she's a citizen.
Well, that's it. You have to be a citizen. You have to
qualify one way or the other.
The rule says you have to be a citizen.
You have to be a citizen.
The rules we saw anyway.
Those judges.
But I don't know what the rule said. I don't know what the rule said. But the issue is, she applied to the competition and she was accepted and she won.
Yeah.
That don't mean
so that if the rules, then the organizers are the ones to blame.
Yeah, the judges, the
if it is that she did the rules.
Yeah,
if the rules,
I suspect she has qualified one way or the other.
I ain't suspect no such thing until I see the evidence.
You need to know for a fact. You can't suspect. You can't say, I suppose. We need to know.
Well, she has not been removed.
But the
No,
organizer, the party, apparently is the manager.
Well,
no,
yeah.
the organizer of the competition.
That's what I read. I don't know if it's true.
No, she has a manager, but I don't know that she.
I will find
I
the
don't know
article.
that. I don't know that her manager is the competition holder. If you understand, which is what you're implying. I don't think so.
That is what I found strange when I read it last week.
No. She has a manager, and I think the manager said she qualified.
The manager was saying is the manager.
Wasn't
Well,
the manager
the
on
manager
interview
cannot
yesterday?
say, well, that she's not qualified. He will have to say she's qualified.
I think her manager was on the interview yesterday also. I didn't hear it, but I've been following it on Facebook, and apparently she was there. The manager was there.
No, I mean, so anyway.
Yeah, listen, a lot of people in Trinidad and Tobago don't know the watchwords. Born Trinidadians.
But they don't, but they're not going outside to represent the country. That's the difference. They might know the watchwords, but if you're going to represent the country, you should know something about the country.
Well, I'm not intense about that particular thing, about that particular competition, because I've never heard of it before and probably will never hear of it again.
No.
They will hear more. Remember, it have more to come from this.
I just hope that if she goes, she wins.
That's all. And
After all this bacchanal, you better win.
Yeah, and she gets as one of her prizes a favorite dish. Listen, I
wanted to. Before you start, Wendell, I just want to make one little note about noise. And when I say noise, it has come to my attention that sometimes that when they say Port of Spain, the touts for the maxi taxis in Arima.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them kind of loud, and I guess Arima, you're going tongue, you know them.
Mm-hmm.
If so apparently one, and I'm not saying this happened recently, but one was arrested by the police at some point for breaching the peace because he saying you're going tongue, that kind of thing, and some, of course, people felt it unfair and stuff like that.
A policeman
less than apparently for making noise. What they're saying is noise for breaching the peace. When they're 2 meters away from the police station, sometimes in the morning when I'm going to work, there's a guy on a microphone talking about Jesus. And he's talking through a microphone at the corner about 2 meters. No, I don't want to say 2 meters, maybe 5 meters from the police station. And he loud. And because almost like he shouted into the microphone, and about Jesus, and the end of times and whatever else he's be saying. And sometimes when I pass in, I don't know if he's be throwing words for me, but all who don't believe in God, or they're going to burn in hell, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, what is the difference? Or do you have permission to make noise once you talk calling Jesus' name? So that is a pass. Once you say Jesus and once you say God, you can talk as loud as you want. But if you're saying, hey, you're going downtown, hey, you're breaching the peace.
I think the person could offer a credible defense by saying this is freedom of religious expression. And remember, Crystal Shorter Baptist had a law place because some people found that they were loud in the decades ago, and then it was repealed to give them the opportunity to express themselves, their religious beliefs and practices the way they saw fit.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess there's a religious pass.
Mm-hmm.
No, there is none. And first of all, even if you're going to make noise like that, you have to have some sort of permit or some sort of something to be able to stand up.
Not really, Richard. As far as I'm aware, they don't,
Exactly, because people just do it.
Yeah. But policeman had to be real kind of idle to be going after a man who's balling out Port of Spain, Arima by 2, Port of Spain by 1. You ought to have a lot of time on your hands to do that.
Yeah.
To charge somebody for that.
So apparently that happened. At least that was the talk on the ground that people tell me. I mean, I wasn't part of. I don't know for a fact that it did happen, but that's what people told me.
Oh, well,
So I said, "Oh, okay."
I can
And I said,
imagine
"But okay."
before a magistrate with that, what they will see.
Yeah.
That's so foolish. That's the same thing like annoying language. Because you vex. You
Yeah.
understand? But I just wanted a couple airport experiences. Why, Paul, and I want you to champion this cause in the parliament, I don't know how. Why do airlines keep saying we are arriving in Port of Spain? We need to either give the airport a name, you understand? Or say for what it is. We are arriving at Piaco, Trinidad and Tobago.
No,
an
aviation enthusiast told me that it all has to do with the registration of the jurisdiction by the FAA and the aviation bodies around the world. And that's why it's listed as Port of Spain and not Piaco.
But we need to fix that. Because we are
Look,
not
I don't know that we need to fix it. If it's working, why need to fix it?
If not, I don't think that is working. I don't know how that is working. Because I don't know of any other airport that you land in that it goes by some other district. You understand? It goes by a name or it goes by an area. I don't know the airport in Ghana.
You block up
the Charles de Gaulle in Paris. You understand?
I think because those jurisdictions have more than one airport at the location. So in New York, you have 4 airports. So they would say not New York because you could be landing at any of the 4. You have John F. Kennedy, you have LaGuardia, you have I forgot the other 2. Right. So I understand in those jurisdictions, and you have multiple airports for New York tri-state, and you would say the specific name. But because we have one commercial airport, unless they need to change it for that specific reason or other reasons for aviation regulation.
Airport a name. Call it something. I know Eric Williams didn't want names. Handles names, places named after him, even though they still and do it. But give it a name.
Wasn't there lobby to name it after the first pilot in Trinidad? Wasn't it a Cipriani or something? I can't remember. I can't remember the name, but
they say you're going to the E.N.I. Robinson International Airport.
That's what they did in Tobago, which I accept that. You understand? So give our airport or just say Piaco. Arriving at Piaco. They need to stop this Port of Spain nonsense. That's one big. The other thing I had an experience. I don't know if you know, some airlines really, really, really upset me and are so rigid with their rules that it is disturbing. KLM, now I flew KLM, and when I left, I went through Amsterdam, then on to Portugal, right? But coming back, I came back with Air France. KLM booked the flight too, it's a KLM partner. I came back to Air France from Portugal to Paris, Paris to Panama, and Panama to Port of Spain, right? But I decided, because I wanted to see a bit of Paris, that I would go to Paris earlier, right? So when I called KLM and I messaged them, it's a WhatsApp message. I told them, listen, I'm already in Paris. I will take my flight from Paris to Panama from here. They said, no, I can't do that. I said, what do you mean? I'm already here. No, you have to pick up the flight from where it starts from in Portugal, right? Would you believe that? They insist I go back to Portugal to get the flight back to the same Paris. Because they say once I miss the first leg, I have forfeited my ticket. I said, what kind of craziness are you all telling me? So I have to write them an email. Because I actually had to go back. I had to leave Paris, go back to Portugal, to come back to Paris again. It was stressful.
Oh, that's great. That makes no sense.
It made no sense to me or to anybody listening.
Yeah.
So if you just didn't go back to Portugal and try to pick up your flight from Paris to Panama, they would have told you your flight is void?
That's what they're saying. They said I would have forfeited my ticket. I cannot.
Just for not taking a flight?
The first flight, yeah.
That doesn't make no sense. On the same day?
Listen, I have all the messages from KLM to me telling me about this thing. And I am
Yeah,
saying
that
it
doesn't make sense. No, that doesn't make sense. No.
It didn't make sense because I was
It
already
doesn't make
in
sense.
Paris.
And it doesn't make sense in an era of climate change that you're letting somebody grow their carbon footprint by doing that more and more.
Listen, it was stressful. It was stressful. And then guess what? With the actual flight now back to Paris was an hour late, and me and my son literally sprinting through the airport because we land 15 minutes before the other flight about to close gate. So we had to sprint through the airport to get to that flight. You understand? It was stressful. I have to write KLM an email and Air France because like Air France also too having some industrial issues. So they just slowing down everything and causing a mess.
Yeah, they have some industrial issues with the pilots going on.
Yeah. It was one of my worst traveling experiences that I've ever had. I wouldn't wish it on anyone.
I guess the should have newspapers available to him to read now, so we can go into the daily newspapers. It is Wednesday, the 20th of September. You all need to think of a question.
I thought we decided on one. Something with the...
I don't know we decided.
Okay.
No,
all right,
we bow to pressure a lot, you know, Paul, Richard and I.
Wendell, newsflash. You know, you're no longer the person to the corporation. No need to bow to pressure anymore. Okay? You can dispatch that over your brain. There's no need to bow to pressure anymore. Okay? You are no longer in Port-au-Prince City Corporation.
And you no longer clinging on, so we bow to pressure.
I find I'm clinging on long though.
Yeah, you are. I'm going to say I clang on, but I'm a
good clinger. Cling on.
I also clinged on for a while, so that's all right.
So let's start with the Daily Express. Address pressures facing citizens. So says Dr. Indira Sajiwan, related to the budget coming up. Charged with kidnapping woman. 2020 wins Commonwealth Youth Award. 2 charged with double murder. No better than Venezuela, so says a young father of one, Jose Nunez, who was shot on Monday night, who is comparing Trinidad and Tobago to Venezuela now. Let's move to the Guardian Online. Union leaders urge employers to help workers cope with heat wave. Kamala calls for FRU head to resign. PE teacher dies at school after complaining of chest pain. That's a really strange story at St. Mary's College. He was found unresponsive, and by the time the ambulance took him to the Port of Spain General Hospital, he was pronounced dead on arrival. Condolences to his family and colleagues and the students. Busy day for PM at UN General Assembly. Stakeholders eye fuel prices. Investigators have lead into Massey store robbery in August. Unions predict rough days ahead. 3 more people reported missing. And Singh family still awaiting word on school transfer.
Who is the teacher? Is it a teacher that died at St. Mary's College?
I think somebody named Garcia.
Okay.
Something Garcia.
You know, I only left a few years ago, so I might know.
Yes. Yeah, Joel Garcia is his name. You could stick with that fallacy in your mind if you want. Let's move to the Newsday now. Main witness testifies against 6 cops in 2011 murder. Industrial Court President says climate change can affect industrial relations. Judiciary Old San Fernando Court will be demolished. They need to. Ministry provides support after teacher found dead at St. Mary's College. Works Minister, Tobago Chamber to discuss Seabridge. San Fernando woman 88 dies in crash. Guayari man shot dead at home, wife and children unhurt. And Minister, water restrictions coming if heat persists. So those are trending stories in your Guardian, Express, and Newsday for today, Wednesday, the 20th of September, 2023.
Thank you, Paul. Let's say good morning. Get up to Shireen Jack. Lando, he says, good morning, guys. Because of this heat, it is a strain on the power grid. It's something that's even happened in the U.S. Um, also, are you all living in Lala? Do you know how expensive it is to run on solar? Leaving that
What?
one. I'm leaving that one there.
Anyway,
Winston Jones.
Zeba Peak said she had a visitor, well, she or he, I don't know, had a visitor from Bulgaria who came to work in St. Augustine, who booked a hotel in Port of Spain because she thought it was close to the airport and she had to endure traffic instead of staying at a closer hotel, example, Holiday Inn or Emerald Plaza. I think we should poll that maybe Friday, guys, about the name, the airport. That arrival destination as Port of Spain. Maybe we should have lobby to have that change. We could poll that too from our listeners. I'm sure other people would have had similar experiences.
All right. Okay. Alistair Hart, good morning. Winston Jones. CPT Singh, Wayne P, good morning from Georgia. Karen Yipnow, bonjour to you as well. And let's see. Wayne Griffith, good morning. Of course, yesterday we asked you in our morning poll. Our morning question was, we just said, yeah. It's simple. Would you support measures to curb online?
What's going on with you there, Steve?
It just okay. Okay. Yes. Would you support measures to curb online shopping in the upcoming budget? 92%, guess what they said? 92% said no. Okay. Okay, let's get into this morning's poll, guys.
Do you have some internet issues?
Yeah, apparently Steve having internet issues.
Oh, I don't know. All right, let's get into this morning's poll.
So what is the question, guys?
The reduction, the reduction on TNTech, is that what you asked?
Should TNTech offer a discount in the coming months due to the heat wave? Is that okay?
Because of the yeah.
All right, let's go with that. All right, so let's raise it there, Pablo.
I know a two-finger type when I see one, one of your shoulders is drop. If you were typing with both fingers, your shoulders would be straight. I know a two-finger type. One of your shoulders leaning. I know it. Richard, you're not seeing it, man. Are you seeing it? You see how one of these shoulders drop?
He's finished tight now. He's finished tight.
That's when I'm leaning into it.
All right. Should TNTech offer customers a discount due to the present heat wave? Mm-hmm. Yes or no? All right. Should TNTech offer customers a discount due to the present heat wave? Yes or no? 222-8255. North Americans toll free 866-525-1099. That's the numbers directly into our studio. Okay. So tell us again, should TNTech offer a discount due to the present heat wave? Yes or no? CPT Singh says no. Priyan Singh said Caribou should give a discount on heat wave too.
I don't mind that one.
You know, when the UK was experiencing the cold last winter, and of course fuel prices were placing a burden on families to keep the heat on, the government did something about it.
Oh yeah.
UK government stepped in and provided a subsidy, I think it was, for fuel so that people could afford heat during the winter to stay alive.
Yeah. I have 2 votes so far. CPT Singh said no. Ingrid said yes. Carol Guevara said yes. And the Great said good morning. I don't know who is the Great. The Great 8.
5% not going to kill TNTech.
Karen, you had a vote. I'm not sure if that's no, you're saying. It would be nice, but no, it won't happen. Yeah, okay. Kazim Mohammed said yes.
They're going to make it back when they eventually raise the price anyway.
I'm sure. I'm sure. It's just going to have a lot of people unable to pay some of the bills, eh?
Well, there are elderly people in some homes who can't take their heat.
Yeah. Julia Batiste says yes. Lorna Kalu Singh says yes. And Kriyan Singh says yes. Karen, you're just typing words and you ain't voting.
222-8255, 612-8255, toll-free if you are in North America, 866-525-1099. Should TNTech offer customers a discount due to the present heat wave? If the airport should be named, if the Piaco airport should be named, we could ask that tomorrow. Friday.
Oh, Friday.
We wait until you're here on Friday to ask that question.
No problem. You could wait for me on Friday, yes. Karen finally says yes. Morgan says yes. Guy Small says, okay. Guy Small, you are
more anyway.
this morning? Or you which day?
You know what's amazing about it?
In this chair, then you can do that.
According to the Minister of Public Utilities, the amount of state agencies owe TNTech almost $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And the lights ain't off yet.
True.
Mm-hmm.
So 222-TALK, 222-8255, North Americans, 866-525-1099. People on the web and the app, you know what to do. Send your votes via the messaging forum on YouTube. That's where you have to send your votes. In that comment section on YouTube.
All right. Slick Bunny Grip says yes. Face blue smile. What's that? I know what that is. All right. So we taking your calls too, eh? Lando, I assume that you mean yes. I won't mind. I'm assuming you meant yes. And Wayne Griffith will do that poll on Friday. Please, God. God willing.
No, I know if Richard graduate, God willing. He's gonna have said him I was shouting Jesus
I say that for spite.
You understand?
I just passed another one shouting right outside as you exit Citygate with your cool self trying to relax and meditate before a day of work. There he is shouting through his thing about Jesus and God again. I tell you, anytime you mention Jesus and God, you can do what you want. And that makes no sense.
Repent, Richard, repent.
I'm sure Jesus will agree with me.
Josie Richardson says yes. Kriyan Singh says a relaxation of dress codes in government buildings will also help with dealing with the heat. But that's not going that well. We have had discussions on that one already.
Yeah, we've had that poll already. Too.
Mm-hmm.
And we did that poll when the woman draped herself in the curtain.
Yes, Ali Berry.
Yeah.
Gloria Gray says yes. And Gregory Boyer says no. He said rain forecast for tomorrow. Gregory, you hear that? So how that fits in the electricity bill, Gregory, if rain come tomorrow? Richard, you know Gregory, right?
Gregory who?
Boyer.
Yes, of course.
Morning, Gregory. And morning, Mrs. Boyer. Should TNTech offer customers a discount due to the present heat wave? That's our question this morning. Oh, Lord, look what Larry Musker saying. I can't read that, Larry Musker.
Hey,
Because
Larry Musker, we haven't heard from you in ages. Hope all is well, Larry.
Larry Musker is the horse racing Larry Musker.
Not the painter.
He's a painter.
And Larry lives in Manzanilla.
Oh, my arrow. That's the man who didn't like Spanish Woman. The poem tune by Barragant. Is he?
I can't remember.
Trini in Boston says yes. Winston Jones says no. Oh, Larry Musker say that's my cousin Juan. Right. Juan is the horse racing man. I knew Roger. Roger and I grew up together in St. James. All right. That was also the topic of a debate yesterday too, Kriyan Singh. The way they're building schools too, in terms of ventilation and so on. You know. But that's the new architecture. New architecture is either a lot of glass or a lot of concrete. No vent blocks and things. People don't buy. I don't even think do they make vent blocks still?
No idea.
I don't think anybody uses vent blocks in construction anymore. You know? Because the intention always is to air condition. Most times.
You know, they're projecting for when we get winter.
Animals. Eh?
They're projecting for when we get winter.
Yeah. Or to keep out insects and animals. People, a lot of strange things come through people's house and through vent blocks, you know. A lot of
strange things come through the house through the front door.
And through window, you're right. You're right.
Some people walking with these strange things, you
know. DJ Ray says yes. All right, yeah, Roger, yes. I know Roger passed. In Ghana, buildings use natural ventilation. That's a fact too, Kriyan. Vent blocks in this climate of home invasions not good. Well, I don't know if home invasions, people ain't coming through the wall, you know, they're coming through the door. All right, so we ain't got a call this morning, though. Our phone line's down?
No.
Hey, that's very strange. Very, very strange.
All right. Should TNTech offer customers a discount due to the present heat wave? That's our poll. All right. Yes or no?
Call the number, Steve Khan. Diana Benskin wants to know what's the number.
222-8255. North Americans, 866-525-1099. That's our numbers directly into our studio. Oh, got a call. Good morning, caller. Good morning.
Yeah, morning.
Morning.
Hey, that is a good time. Now is a good time for TNTech. Like TNTech is struggling for revenues. So now so will be a good time for them to give people a concession now again and struggling. I go say no.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
No problem.
Good morning.
Hi, Steve. Morning.
Morning.
Morning, everybody there. I thought something was wrong with your phones. Because I didn't try to call, but I said you didn't call. I know the number. I mean, I know the number, but they didn't see the call. Anyway.
So now we know your name.
How you know my name?
Because now you just asked what's the number?
No.
What's the number? What's the number?
It's not you, Diana?
I didn't say my name at all. Anyway, I am not being affected, but I would like to get a reduction in my bill. So TNTech should give everybody, whether they have air conditioner or not, a rebate. Because here was right. I The heat inside my house, it's insulated. So I don't use air condition and I have a lot of breeze. So, but it's only on the outside I get the bad effects of the heat. But my bill is normally less than $450.
Lucky you.
Yeah, boy.
And so I want my reduction still. So like everybody else. And another thing, people should let people go to work dress more casual, all this set of clothes on every day.
Yeah, I come to work in shorts.
My countrymen just take it to a different level when you say casual. You know?
I know, but oh gosh, this heat, oh gosh. I saw these people from the bank when they come in from work, all this set of clothes on. I think they should. So that's for the time, not for all of it. That's for this period.
Well, in the banks and those big companies, they have very, very efficient air conditioning units. So it's cold. So you don't want to dress down. You don't want to dress down in a bank,
You have to reach there first, Remember, people have to travel to get there.
Well, you have the option of changing.
Paul?
You have an option of changing your clothes when you're leaving. When you're leaving the bank, take off that jacket, put on a vest.
But
take
people,
off that skirt, put on a pom-pom shorts.
Yeah, but you have to walk with bags and bags. When there is a whole set of things I have to walk with, Anyway, you all have a good day. I hope you have course to take later. All right, bye.
All right, Diana.
Could you imagine walking out of Royal Bank Independence Square in a pom-pom shorts? And you're walking with your nice suit with your skirt and your little blouse and thing, and you walk out with the pom-pom shorts and take a taxi.
Good morning, caller.
Hello.
Hi.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
This is Diana Benskin. How are you doing?
Hi, Miss Benskin. Nice to
Oh,
hear
so
from you.
we had mixed. I thought that was Diana called before. So good morning, Diana. Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling you from Connecticut.
Connecticut.
I like to hear when people say that word.
Oh, jeez.
I'm a born Trinbagonian. I just like plenty Trini have.
What are the national watchwords?
Well, you have pride and industry.
Oh gosh, you see?
Power, discipline, and something else. But anyway, so productivity. So I am a born Trinbagonian. Having been born in Trinidad and Tobago to Barbadian parents. I was jettisoned back to Barbados and raised in Barbados. So you will always hear my Bajan accent. Graduated from Charleston Girls High School in Trinidad.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't find people attack me whenever I try to speak truth. They launch ad hominem attacks. They'll go into my accent and all that other gizma, which I can't ever get rid of, which I don't want to. But anyway, we're talking about the tea and tech lowering the rate. Let me ask you all something. Huh? Now, the weather is usually predicted. Huh? So the powers that be, couldn't they have put things in place, especially for those school children? Can't you have a bus outside the school acting as a cooling place for the children? Can they donate, water, to the children especially? How do you expect a child to learn in these conditions, heat and how is it possible? How can the teachers teach? And then you don't have no water in your taps, huh? A whole lot of people suffering for water in this 102-degree temperature. How are you getting anything done in such conditions? I blame the powers that be. And whenever I speak out, on things on the oppression, I call it, of my people, it's a Bajan, mind the business, and but how do we fix these things? We're doing a lot of talking. How do we get those in charge with the power to fix these issues? How do we do it?
Ma'am, are you suggesting that a government or I will use your words, the powers that be, has to be responsible for parking a bus outside of the school so children can have a cool zone, or they should have bottled water at all times?
Whoever the powers that be are, because the powers that be is only. Can I finish, please? The powers that be are not only the people that sit in Parliament. You have mayors and you have aldermen and council members and you have business people in operating there. Can they contribute free water to the schools and stuff? I mean, those are the powers that we have. All those people that hold power, economic power, political power, judicial power. Why we waiting now till 102 people suffering, right? And you're talking about lowering the electric rate. How about relaxing the dress code, and how about not having school at all?
Ma'am, you can call back. Can you call back right after the news, because we're over time for the news and we can continue the conversation.
Sure.
All right. Thank you, Dan. I will tell you before going to the news. On October 18th, 2020, Met Office got a maximum temp of 35.5. And for this year, since 2020, we have crossed 35 degrees 3 times. All right. Let's get into our 7 o'clock major news. AV is ahead.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
Trade disputes, top matters brought before the industrial court. Employers urged to comply with health and safety measures amid heat spell affecting the country. The opposition wants the head of the FIU to resign. And U.S. child dies from fentanyl kept under nursery nap mat. Details in a moment. This is news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. I'm Avril Sintil-Bab. Good morning. Trade disputes have topped the list of matters brought before the Industrial Court for 2022-2023. They amount to 654 cases. These are 4 cases relating to both essential and general services, retrenchment and severance benefit disputes, occupational safety and health and industrial relations offenses account for 38, 31 and 25 cases respectively. Head of the Industrial Court, Deborah Thomas Felix, provided the update while speaking during the official opening of the court on Tuesday. It was indicated there were 253 judgments, 289 cases were withdrawn, 320 matters were settled through conciliation and bilateral process, and 44 cases were dismissed.
Total numbers filed at the court for this year, 2022 to 2023, trade disputes in both the Essential and General Services Division remain the highest numbers of cases filed, with a total of 654 cases, followed by retrenchment and severance benefit disputes, which was 38, and occupational safety and health, which was 31, and 25 industrial relations offenses.
793 new cases were filed at the Industrial Court, which is a decline of 309 cases, less from September 15th, 2022 to September 14th, 2023, when compared to 1,102 cases for the period 2021 to 2022.
During the year in review, which is the 15th of September 2022 to the 14th of September 2023, 793 new cases were filed at the Industrial Court. This is 309 cases less than the same period, 2021 to 2022, which recorded 1,102 cases. The court disposed of 909 matters this year, which was 62 more than the 847 matters disposed of in the same period for the last year in review.
Mrs. Thomas Felix said there's also inadequate spacing for the court to properly carry out its duties, and she's hoping this matter is treated with a level of urgency.
Over the years, I've spoken about the lack of sufficient space for the staff of the Industrial Court at the Port of Spain building. This continues to be a pressing concern, which at times stymies the operation of the court. This building was commissioned in 1997 And over the years, there has been a significant increase in the number of staff, judges, and users of the court. I cannot overemphasize how important it is for the physical facility of the court to be comfortable for the staff and the users, and I continue to look forward to a very amicable resolution of this problem by the relevant authorities.
Employers are being urged to ensure they comply with health and safety measures, especially in light of the heat spell being experienced in Trinidad and Tobago. They're also being encouraged to give consideration to a work-from-home policy where possible, as this can result in several benefits in some instances. Head of the Industrial Court, Deborah Thomas Felix, made the remarks while speaking at the opening of the court on Tuesday. Various categories of workers were cited, such as those involved in construction, factories, agriculture, and in some cases, the essential services.
These include workers in hot environments such as firefighters, bakery workers, farmers, construction workers, miners, boiler room workers, factory workers, among others. The increasing weather events directly place workers who engage in construction sites, agriculture, and in some cases, the essential services within direct risk. The social partners should therefore encourage the adoption of sound health and safety mechanisms and policies in the workplace.
Mrs. Thomas Felix said employers and trade unions can explore clauses in collective agreements for the training of workers on a yearly basis in health and safety matters. The leader of the opposition is calling for the resignation of Nigel Stoddart as director of the Financial Intelligence Unit after what it describes as his arbitrary and unjustified action was exposed by a High Court judge. It claims Mr. Stoddart must step down following the alleged blatant abuse of power by the FIU with respect to the private banking information of Gary Griffith and Nicole Dyer Griffith. The opposition leader contends if Mr. Stoddart refuses to vacate his office, the Public Services Commission must have him removed under applicable provisions of the relevant legislation. The judiciary says the old San Fernando Magistrates Court located on Harris Street and Harris Promenade must be demolished immediately. It explained that the building caught fire on more than one occasion since September 15, 2023 and must now be demolished immediately. A meeting was held with the city engineer on September 15, 2023 to discuss the details of the demolition works and to ensure all approvals are in place to facilitate the advancement of the long overdue demolition. It said due to the accelerated building deterioration and as a result of the city corporation's challenge with the completion of works under the city cleanup campaign project, it proceeded to procure the services of a contractor for the demolition of the building and awarded the contract formally on September 12th this year. Prior to the award of the contract on September 12, 2023, the judiciary had commenced demolition with the help of the Ministry of Works and Prison Service by removing all electrical, plumbing, and heavy metal works between January and February 2020. You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. Further afield, the fentanyl that killed a one-year-old child at a nursery in New York City was hidden in the nap room under a mat as he slept, according to police. Nicholas Dominici, who had been at the nursery for just a week, died of a suspected drug overdose on Friday. 3 other children were admitted to hospital after being exposed to the powerful narcotic at the daycare center in the Bronx. Drug conspiracy and murder charges have been filed against 2 people. Police believe the children, ranging in age from 8 months to 2 years old, inhaled fentanyl at the nursery. 3 children were given Narcan, an emergency medication used to reverse opioid overdoses. A search of the nursery turned up 1 kilo of fentanyl that was discovered underneath a mat where the children had been sleeping earlier, said NYPD Chief Detective Joseph Kenny on Monday. Investigators also allegedly discovered 3 presses used to package kilos of drugs. Well, finally, here is weather news for the period today till midnight. Trinidad and Tobago, partly cloudy conditions with scattered light to moderate showers and the medium chance of a few heavy showers or thunderstorms. Initially settled evening with showers developing as the night progresses. Look out for a forecast maximum temperature of 33 degrees Celsius at Piarco International Airport and 31 degrees Celsius at Crown Point in Tobago. Recapping your headlines at 7 o'clock. Trade disputes top matters brought before the industrial court. Employers urged to comply with health and safety measures amid heat spell affecting the country. The opposition wants the head of the FIU to resign, and U.S. child dies from fentanyl kept under nursery nap mat. I'm Avril Sintel-Bab. That was news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. Look out for more news in detail coming up at 12 noon today, and an 8 o'clock update also coming. For more details,
Steve, you are muted in the studio if you hear me. After AV finished with the news, everything went muted. Steve?
Steve, we're not hearing you, you know.
Yeah, he muted everything when AV was ending the news because she didn't get to say log on to, you know. Everything's been muted since then. Oh dear. Okay.
Steve? We're not hearing you.
Does he see the screen? Does he see anything? You're muted.
Well, he's logging back on. He's logging off and logging back on.
Okay.
So clearly there was a glitch in the matrix.
All right, let me send a happy birthday greeting to Reno Halassi's daughter, Razine Halassi, from her dad and her mom and Suzanne, her mom Suzanne, brothers and sisters in Tampa and New Orleans and Sangre Grande. All right? Okay. Somebody's saying you can hear him on the website, but not on YouTube.
Yeah, because he's
still
taking
talking.
He needs to, right. So that's
You guys hearing me now?
Yes, we are.
Nice. Okay. Wonderful. All right. Let's get into the traffic update. See what's happening on the highways and the byways. It's very heavy out of Maraval, Lower Santa Cruz. Out of Dago, you got a lot of traffic. Lady Young Road, slow going until you get to the bend, and then towards the lookout, you've got some traffic. Let's have east and see where you guys are at. Maloney, straight into Port of Spain, Eastern Main Road. It is heavy as well. You've got traffic again from Endeavour, heading straight into Currap. Kelly Village, going back to the airport. You've got it. Let's take a look at South. Not as heavy, but usual routes are beginning to build. The solo is pretty much by Charlieville. A little bit by Chase Village, but from Charlieville, you're going to get some traffic. All right? All right.
Can I come and do an experiment tomorrow, Steve?
Say again?
Let's do an experiment tomorrow. Let's just take the recording from today that you just did the traffic and play it back tomorrow and see if they make a difference.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. But you know, when I don't do the traffic, I get buff.
And the weather too. We could do the weather also.
Now, we get some rain tomorrow and Friday.
You ready to do so?
Yeah. All right. Let me get my guest online. We have to give the results of our morning poll.
Yes, I have those results, and we asked this morning, should TNTech offer customers a discount due to the present heat wave? 15 of you said yes, while 4 said no. 15 said yes, 4 said no. All right. And last night I was so hoping that Kings would win, would beat Jamaica Talawas. And well, they played, it was like a repeat of last year's eliminator where Jamaica Talawas made 114 and bowled them out for 148 and bowled them out for 115. The Kings just didn't show up last night. They batted terribly, they whoop, and they just, and Jamaica Talawas won the match. Well, not easily, but they won the match, you know. So congratulations, Jamaica Talawas will now play the winner of tonight's game, which is TKR versus Guyana Amazon Warriors. All right, that will be the team that wins tonight, though, goes straight to the final. The loser will have another chance of playing, and they will play Jamaica Talawas on Friday.
Oh, so do or die tonight.
Well, no, it's not do or die because both teams, well, even if they lose, they still have another play, another game, another chance at it. Either team tonight. That's the value of coming either first or second. The winner will go straight through, though, to the finals tonight. But the loser will get to play again on Friday against Jamaica Talawas.
And then who wins in that game? Who wins in that game moves to the finals.
Right. So but the winner goes straight to the final tonight.
Right. So do or die.
And whoever wins on Friday game will play the final.
Yeah. Okay. You better win tonight.
Yeah.
So they get a rest for Sunday.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Well, both sides if you win tonight, you have a nice long rest, actually.
Yeah.
Guyana Amazon.
The last time the TKR played, they put the regular players on rest.
Yeah.
So because they didn't need to win that game. Only points.
I doubt they'll do that tonight.
I doubt they'll do that tonight.
Yeah.
I doubt they'll do that tonight.
So people are asking me who I'm predicting to win because I backed St. Lucia last night. So I'm going to back Amazon Warriors tonight so they can lose. Anyway.
All right. I'm going to call Niran again.
Messages, boy.
You know, I see, I don't think, well, I can't, let me not say that. Let me say it'll be interesting for TNT to quantify if they gave a 5% discount to residential customers and schools, what it would amount to. I'm sure it'll be millions of dollars, but nothing TNT can't absorb presently.
Well, and nothing they haven't been absorbing, you know.
Yeah.
I think the idea, though, is so that people don't lose their power. Because you stand a chance of losing your power now if you don't pay your bill. Because they don't hesitate to disconnect, you know.
I think disconnecting en masse because of the increased bills generally is not a productive move for the state, a state entity, given the security concerns around the country. You understand?
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's not only lights for seeing in the house, it's lights for security in the night too.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
So I think the consideration of that, the alternative to cutting somebody because your bill is doubled, because once you have an AC unit, your bill is going to either a quarter increase or 50% increase or 100% increase. You understand?
Yeah.
It's going to be more. Even if you have fans alone, it means you have fans running all the time.
All the time, yes.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Niran Tiwari to the program. Good morning, Niran. How are you?
Hi, good morning, gents. I'm fine, thanks. Good morning to all your listeners. Good to be here.
Lovely.
Good morning, Niran. He was asking if we're on air. No, we're online, but we're still very active because we got a letter from TAT recently.
Yeah.
So we're being regulated by the regulator.
You know, Paul, I saw what
I'll leave that for legislators to deal with that, Paul.
Paul, I so wanted to mark what that was about yesterday. I was hoping you'd share it with me, but you didn't.
I'll share it with you now.
Yes, share.
All right. Good morning, Niran. Thanks for joining us this morning. Niran is the CEO of AmCham. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
Unless the CEO of the American Chamber of Commerce.
That I don't know about.
And of course, the budget date has been announced. But even before that, what has your membership been telling you about the heat wave and if at all it's affecting their operations?
you. Well, all right. You kind of threw me. No, thankfully we haven't. I haven't had any specific complaints about the heat wave. What we have been hearing from the membership over the last couple of years with some greater intensity, of course, is the need to take into account our overall impact on the climate and on communities, so on the environment and communities, and the need to try to get the information and implement strategies to make sure that our production and consumption is much more sustainable going forward.
Okay. Well, the other big issue, of course, in the last couple of days has been the Forex issue, but it's not a new issue. But certainly it has come up into the national conversation again since Republic Bank cut by 50%, cut in half the availability of credit card US access per monthly billing cycle, and how that is affecting particularly micro, small, and in some instances medium-sized businesses. What has the response been from your membership on that?
Oh, it's been very loud. Now, before this happened, over August, July, and August in particular, members have been calling and asking what, if anything, we could do around the availability of foreign exchange, indicating that a problem that has been persistent for years has gotten worse. And I would have tried to explain what's happening a little bit in a piece I did 2 days ago. And what has happened is that with the VAT bonds that were issued and announced in the last budget, they were issued this year. The energy companies are owed hundreds of millions of dollars of VAT refunds. Now, VAT refunds, and forgive me, tell me if I'm just going too deep into it, but the VAT refunds, companies collect VAT on behalf of the government, but they are entitled to, and they pay it to the government, but they're entitled to get some of that back depending on their own expenses that attract VAT. Yes. Right? Ideally, this should be netted off in a quarterly period. Unfortunately, that has not been happening for several years, and essentially the private sector has been funding the government's cash flow by virtue of not collecting their VAT refunds. And you would persistently hear all of the chambers talk about the impact of not being able to access one's VAT refunds, particularly on small and medium-sized businesses, because if you don't get in money, cash that you're expecting to get, it affects your operations, right? In the energy sector, that happens, and of course that happens on a larger scale because of the volume of VAT that we're talking about. So the government, in trying to clear up some of the outstanding VAT, which is a good thing, would have issued bonds so that they don't have to pay all of the money up front. So for argument's sake, let's say it's $1 billion in bonds that they issued. They don't have to pay out the $1 billion. What they're doing is they issued the bonds at a interest rate of just over 3%. They would pay the 3% plus of the $1 billion every year to the holders of the bonds until they become due. So the so companies would have accessed their bonds and sold them to the bank. The government worked with the financial sector to ensure that if you sell the bonds immediately, you get dollar for dollar. So if you were owed, let's say, 200 million of that, and you sold your 200 million, you would get of bonds, you would get $200 million in cash now, and the holder of the bond would earn the interest over the period until it can be redeemed for the principal value as well. So the energy companies have accessed some of their bonds, and the energy companies would usually change, and by energy I mean upstream and petrochemicals, they would usually change some of their US dollar earnings, because their products are traded in the international markets, as we know, and they would change that money to pay local expenses. that, in addition to the taxes that they pay and other businesses' sales of forex back into the system, is really how we get foreign exchange for other things in the economy, right? Because they have because they have accessed TT dollars via the bonds, they have not been selling as much, if any, back into the system over the last quarter or two. And that is expected to continue into quarter one, maybe quarter two for some companies, 2024. As a result, there's much, and they sell this directly to the banks, right? So they would say, let's say they have X dollars, X US dollars, and Y expenses in TT dollars, they would sell that US dollars back to the banks directly. Because they haven't been doing that, the situation has gotten more acute because we already had a shortage and now it's worse. And because the government has its benchmarks for what it wants our reserve ratio to be, they have not sold any extra. The central bank has not sold any extra US dollars into the system to sort of smooth out this further dip in US dollars in the system. And of course, that is being passed on to consumers of all kinds. Now, the banks have to pay credit card, the US dollars associated with credit card transactions first. And so if they don't have US dollars or they don't have the quantum of US dollars that they would have had before, it puts them under greater strain. Now, no bank wants to, I'm not defending the bank per se, but no bank wants to reduce credit card spending. In fact, credit card spending is a lucrative part of banks' businesses. So
I would think so.
It's not that the banks want you or me to spend less on our credit cards every month. I'm sure if they could, they would increase limits if they felt we'd pay it back. Even if we'd pay it back over time, that might be better for them, right? So that's the situation as it stands, as I understand it.
But I'm glad, as you touch on that point, Niran, I'm happy that you said that because that's how I've always known it, that credit card purchases, the banks benefit from that more than anything else, especially U.S. credit card purchases. So why then would they have taken the decision that they took? Is it that they are preempting something? Is it a preemptive strike?
Well, not preemptive. So if they have less US dollars, right? They also, I'm sure, are mindful of the need to extend US dollar facilities to business clients who need those things for inputs to keep the economy going. For people who have, for example, children in university, for health expenses outside to individuals and so on. And if they know that they need to pay the credit card amounts, so whatever they need to settle with Visa and MasterCard and so on, it would be the primary call on their US dollars. They are attempting to manage their own US dollar capacities. But
the bank didn't indicate, unless you can tell me differently, the bank didn't indicate that certain categories of users will be exempt. The bank said holders of RBL credit cards generally. I guess you can individually say, well, my child is in university and I need that 50% is going to put my child out of school. But that is not what we've heard from the bank. The bank just made a statement that 50% of the credit card per monthly billing cycle is going to be taken away.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, I think I'm hearing, Paul, in what you're saying. So first of all, not everybody who is using US dollars is doing it via their credit cards, right? I mean, it's a lifeline for small and medium businesses who can't get US wire transfers or US cash out of the bank. But there are many customers, I'm sure, who do use wire transfers and other methods of accessing US dollars outside of the credit cards.
When
But
you
again,
can get it,
with, pardon?
when you can get it, when you can access it.
Yes, yes, of course, yes. But you see, the bank, remember, we have a fixed exchange market, right? So we have a fixed exchange rate. So it's not, what has happened over time is even the foreign banks that might have been willing to take a TT dollar position are not willing to do that. So not many people are willing to buy TT dollars in exchange for US dollars, even outside of this market, because there's a difficulty in changing TT dollars. And that is a function of many things in the market, including the fact that we effectively have a fixed exchange rate. Now, that takes us down a slippery slope, right? So dealing with this part of this set of policy requires discussions around inflation, requires discussions around, how do we ensure that we have enough foreign exchange coming in to cover our bills if the exchange rate were to slide and it becomes more costly to buy US dollars. It also affects our national debt because a certain portion of our debt is held in hard currency, and therefore it will affect the debt to GDP ratios and so on and so forth. So one of the things that we're saying, and we very much welcome in the minister's recent statement that he said he's going to have discussions with the central bank and the business community and others, we do need more policy clarity over the medium term and to figure out, okay, what do we really want to do with regards to foreign exchange and the exchange rate and the like, and how are we going to get there with as little as possible pain in the adjustment, because nothing we do now is going to be pain-free.
Well, the question, Nira, that arises from that is, from what you've described, the pressures are mounting significantly, given what you've identified as if this is correct, the government's position to keep the foreign reserves. I think it's at 6 months cover, if I'm not mistaken.
8 months, I think. I think it's
8 months cover,
yeah.
If I'm not corrected, 8 months cover, and keep that there. Also, manipulate the situation, I'm using that word very guardedly, to manage the the exchange rate to US dollars, because really it's being kept there through certain maneuvers. You understand? Given one, the supply side and the demand side in the system in Trinidad and Tobago. Is this sustainable moving forward, given the present conditions?
I think it's becoming increasingly difficult, and it's having a significant impact on business. But any knee-jerk reaction, and certainly any single policy measure, is likely to make it worse. So it has to be that we do several things in conjunction, right? And it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. So if we can find the mechanism to collaborate and to keep a dialogue going, so that when things get acute, we can try to respond to the acute situation, knowing that we have a longer term objective. It would be much better than people just talking at one another and doing things doing things without completely letting the major stakeholders assist with getting us to a solution.
But isn't the actual solution really that the country has to have an economic policy and direction that earns us foreign exchange and foreign direct investment, and we should be aggressively going after that? But a lot of the times I find the narrative is, oh, the foreign exchange issues, how we control it, rather than, okay,
look at it from the other lens. Let's aggressively get foreign exchange into the country. Whatever we have to do. We have to increase our tourism stock. We have to make sure that we're selling more. We have to be doing all of that. Isn't that the better approach?
Well, they're connected. Of course, we all want to earn. We all want the country to be earning more foreign exchange. But if, for example, you have a situation where potential investors decide not to invest because they feel that if they do invest, they can't repatriate profits because they can't get hard currency, then that also has an impact on our ability to earn foreign exchange. And that's part of what is happening now. So that's why I'm saying the solutions are not simple. And there are many people who say, well, you know, they don't understand why the business community is complaining. We, the business community, should just earn more foreign exchange. Well, if it were that simple, trust me, all businesses would do it because they would prefer not to have to go to financial institutions and wait and beg and damage long-standing relationships.
Well, I don't think it's solely a business. I don't think the solution solely lies in the business community. I think the solution lies between government and business to a large degree, and largely the overarching infrastructure and facilitation by the government in whatever incentives to get foreign income earning businesses and industries growing and expanding. And I think that's
what I've heard, Niran, is that a lot of these businesses just not bringing the foreign currency here. They're leaving it out there. They're not bringing it back.
Well, that might be part of it. And if that is part of it, why, right? So if, for example...
That's the question, why?
Well, they're waiting for devaluation. That has been discussed. Sometimes they say they're waiting for devaluation to bring back in their money. And the state has often put the narrative that there is not going to be a devaluation.
Yes.
That's part of the issue.
That's true.
Well, okay, but capital goes where, one, it's welcome, and two, where there can be a return, right? So if people aren't bringing it back, what are the options to earn a return? When you make money, you don't make money to just hold on to it. You make it to use for something or to continue making money, right?
So
from a salary to anything else, right? You want your money to create some kind of value for you, and value could be buying food so you could take care of your family, and value could be investing in a small pension or a house or a vehicle, or if you have that much extra, to use it for something else. Some people fix up a room and rent an apartment or buy a second property or any number of things, right? So if nationals have US dollars that they're not bringing back to Trinidad and Tobago, we have to look at structurally why is that happening, and all of those things are connected, from the value of the exchange rate to why dollars are not being repatriated to the ability to attract additional investment that is export focused and therefore has a high potential to earn foreign exchange. All of these things are very much linked. And so that's why we're saying that we need to come together. There needs to be long, medium term, at least policy clarity around what we're trying to do and how we're going to get there. And that may mean that we have to change some positions as we go.
But do you think the government is actively and consistently taking on the championing the issue of dialogue with business? I am almost absolutely sure that the Minister of Finance did not find out about the Republic Bank's plan to slash the credit card access by 50% in the news like the rest of us.
Yeah, especially when the state has an interest in the bank.
Yeah, I don't think that happened like that. I think the minister knew I could stand corrected if I'm wrong, But the minister is in a position where he would know that was coming because of the underlying circumstances that would have led to that, and the relationship between the bank and the state, right? So he knew that, and that was not a decision clearly not taken lightly by Republic Bank. It's a survival move for the very reasons that you outlined, Niran, in terms of their ability to pay, to service what is spent in credit cards on the US side, which means the minister is aware of the pressures facing the local banking industry, the local financial sector. So I'm surprised to hear that the minister said, well, I'm going to have a meeting with the commercial banks, the central banks, and the business community to discuss the pressures in terms of supply and demand and the increased online spending and the expansion of the economy that where US is being used to pay for inputs to drive the expansion in local business. I'm surprised to hear that meeting is now going to take place, particularly 3 weeks before our budget.
Paul, I'm glad you're saying that, because that was my thinking too. Aren't you the minister in charge of these institutions anyway? How could you be taken by surprise?
Well, he's not the minister in charge of the institution.
Financial institutions.
He's not in charge of the financial institutions. He's the line minister for finance, so he has a relationship with the institutions.
Right. However, I was just putting it a different way. But I'm just saying that should not, in my opinion, sorry, Niran, but that, in my opinion, should not have come as a surprise to anybody, especially when the state has an interest in Republic Bank. So but Niran, the bigger question too, I wanted to ask, wouldn't this also grow an already growing black market economy, black market US economy?
It is likely to. I mean, I can't say for sure, but it's likely to. So if I need US dollars, I mean, I wouldn't do it, but people will find ways to do. You know, people who have may offer it and offer it at a greater premium, right? So the spread between the official rate and the black market rate is likely to increase as well. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. But it all goes towards the issue of devaluation, which, you know, certain economists say, well, look, what is the real value of the TT dollar against the US? And obviously, many of them say, obviously, what we have now is not the actual rate, and it should be devalued. Which I think connects to that issue, Wendell and Paul and Niran, why so many, not only businesses, but so many personal individuals who have loads of US dollars abroad are not going to bring it back in until that happens, or they're assuming that that's going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
And to me, the fix is you have to be more aggressive about getting foreign exchange, and that includes tourism, et cetera, because the other islands don't have the problems in the same way that we do. And we're a country of 1.4 million people. This is not, I mean, it's only so much we could spend.
Yeah, and I don't know.
It needs a solvable problem,
yeah,
but it needs that kind of aggressiveness in terms of that outlook. And you're right, it does connect to other things. It connects to confidence. It connects to the issue of crime and how confident people feel in the economy because of the issue of crime, which affects confidence. You have all of those things bubbling under the surface. Well, crime is not bubbling under the surface. It's very much rearing its head. But all of those things interconnect into the overall picture to where we are today. I just wanted to ask one question, Niran. Maybe about a few months ago, I read an article. I can't remember by whom. I was an economist of some sort, or who suggested dollarization and for the Trinidad and Tobago economy. And I am absolutely ignorant of how that would work. I don't know if you have any sense of how that would work.
What is dollarization to start with?
Dollarization is when you either partially or fully substitute your local currency to a particular foreign currency. So I think what the economist was suggesting was that we, in other words, do away with TNT dollar and fully dollarize into US dollars. So that becomes our medium of exchange, US dollars. I don't know what Niran thinks about that. I mean, I have no, I'm not an economist, so I have no real sense of how that would work and what the effects would be.
But we kind of
I think it was Justin Ram, and also if former governor of the Barbados Central Bank, Dr. Delisle Worrell, has been making the same point. Panama, for example, is a dollarized economy.
Yeah.
So there are countries that have done it, and you know, one can examine the experience and see. And I don't believe in, you know, I've learned over the years not to get too caught up in the philosophical positions, or as Bob Marley said, the isms and the schisms. Let's examine our options and the impact of implementing one option over another, understanding that as we look to one option, there would be other things that would go into that. I don't think there's a panacea of any kind to fix the problems that we have, and it will be a journey. So unless we do this together and figure it out and agree on a path and understand and accept that there are steps in that at each step there will be ripples, hopefully not waves, and we have to deal with the ripples so that we keep the ship afloat, it's not going to be, we're not going to make any significant progress. I mean, immediately we have a mini crisis, and the answer would be to inject additional foreign exchange as an ad hoc measure into the system. The result of that will be some level of smoothing out, as in some reduction in the critical demand. However, it will not, that foreign exchange will evaporate pretty quickly, because we're going into particularly because we're going into the Christmas period, right? But it will also further reduce our foreign reserves. So unless we have a reasonable hope and plan, not hope but expectation and plan to rebuild those foreign reserves in the next 6 to 12 months, it's risky. But I would also argue that that is my recommendation at the moment, because leaving things as critical as they are is riskier than doing nothing.
Niran, is this forex issue pervasive across the Caribbean? Do you have information on that?
No, it is not. Except
it is not. It is not.
So someone asked the question to ask. How come? Someone got a question to ask. How come we are having these issues and our economy is supposedly stronger than most of the other Caribbean countries? Is it that we have more pull, more demand in our forex compared to those other economies in the Caribbean?
Yes.
Well, what's the reason for that disparity?
We have all the big conglomerates here, not so? Those small islands don't have that problem.
No, that's not it. The reason has to do with the reason has to do with the fixing of the rate of the dollar. In Jamaica, the Jamaican dollar moves significantly in a short space of time, depending on what's happening in the economy, and is based on demand and supply. So so it's based on the rate of the dollar. Now, as I said, if you were to just implement one policy measure, such as a free float tomorrow, which is different to devaluation, right? So devaluation is where you fix the rate, but you say the rate is now 8 or 7.5 or 9 or whatever. A free float would mean let the market determine. So if the financial institutions have $1 billion to sell over the next month, they will sell it to whoever is paying the most for it. They'll set the rate, and the market will decide. And that could go up or it could go down depending on the demand for foreign exchange at that price and the availability of foreign exchange at that price. Now, to just go to that overnight would have, and I agree with the minister on this, is likely to have disastrous effects on the economy. And that's why we're saying that, look, let us deal with the acute crisis that we have, try and buy ourselves literally about 6 months to figure out how we want to go forward, and then start working toward that by end of March latest, hopefully we'll start seeing more foreign exchange sales from the energy companies back into the system. That won't take us to equilibrium, but it would reduce the difference, the deficit between demand and supply, and hopefully we can start seeing a way forward for the medium term.
But
Budget
Niran, are we
2024.
currently operating with a floating rate?
Pardon me?
And we currently operating with a floating dollar rate?
No, it's a managed float.
No, it's a managed float.
Okay.
I mean, the rate, as I don't remember the exact numbers, but I think it's a 15-cent float.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the central bank, by my understanding, injects money to keep it within a particular range. Am I wrong, Niran?
They inject money, but they also determine the rate, the maximum rate that it could be sold at.
Yeah, so there's a managed rate.
Floating within a certain limit.
There's a limit.
Correct.
The budget is coming up on October 2nd. What is critical from the Chamber's perspective to be included in that budget based on what you discussed this morning and the points Richard has made about championing things like tourism? We've had these discussions. We've talked about diversification ex etal ad nauseum in this country, but it's still an energy, hydrocarbon, breadbasket economy. What's been missing over the last couple of decades in actually moving that needle forward? And what's important in this budget in moving that needle forward?
Well, I mean, what's been missing has been implementation, right? I don't think that the plans are bad, but taking the bull by the horns and dealing with some of the difficult issues, such as, say, customs, implementing the National Statistical Institute so that we have real-time data, implementing the National Unique Identification Number and linking that back to all the social services and government IDs, e-payments within the government sector that would allow for less friction and even the payment of taxes and so on. Identifying, using something like GIS to identify all the businesses in a particular sector that are not paying taxes and bringing them into the tax net, and one can do that in a non-punitive way, in the sense that you don't have to, you can take a decision that, look, you weren't paying taxes for X many years, fine, we're not going to go after you for that, but going forward, you're on the tax register and you have to start paying taxes now. So there are ways to do things and move the economy, but someone, I think it was Richard who spoke about confidence. That right now is key, and confidence can only be built if people believe that there is positive movement and hope for the future. So we have to do more in that regard. We have to get some critical things done that would continue to convince people that, look, this economy, this country will move. We're going to reduce crime. That is the number one issue. We're going to reduce crime. We're going to improve our institutions. And we are going to remove the bottlenecks to doing business across those cross-cutting things that would really free up businesses of any kind, small, medium, micro, and large.
Would you be an advocate of removing the parameters within which the exchange rate moves? As you said before, it can be an overnight thing. It will crash the economy if it's an immediate thing. But based on what we've discussed this morning, the pressures to keep it there are almost unsustainable given what I'm seeing.
I don't think that is a one-off. As I said, I don't think that should be a one-off policy measure, and I think we should have a multi-party discussion around the whole issue of foreign exchange availability and the factors that impact that, and come to some agreement around that, and therefore agreement around the steps that we would need to take, the policy steps, the things that the business community might need to do to support that over the medium term.
Okay. And thank you so much, Niran, for speaking with us this morning. It's always interesting having conversations with you concerning what's going on, not only with AmCham, but with the Trinidad and Tobago economy generally. And we appreciate your input.
Yes, thanks very much for having me, guys. It's always a pleasure to be here.
All right.
All right,
Thank
Niran.
you so much.
All right, so this is where we wrap up the Power Breakfast Show on this Wednesday morning. It's midweek, believe it or not. Just reminding you, of course, that theatre is on next week, the 30th of September, Saturday, 8:30 p.m. and Sunday, the 1st of October at 6:30 p.m. Nikki Crosby is back, 50-ish and hot AF. And, of course, tickets are already available at Queen's Hall at the box office, 12 noon to 6 p.m. I heard tickets were selling very well already, even though we are 2 weeks away from the show. Tickets are already zooming at outlets. And of course, the outlets, you can check RSRR Productions theater page for the outlets across the country, from Electronics in Arima to Crosby's in St. James and the Rumbox in St. James, K-Squared Fashions at West Mall and at Eastgate in Trinity, Friends of Marabella at Piaco Plaza in Trinity, Jabili Rawe in Tunapuna, Charflet Auto Services, Creme Fresh at Brentwood Mall in Chagonas. All of these are outlets that you can check for tickets for the show. I know Southerners were asking, is there an outlet in South? No, there isn't. So you'd either have to make a booking or you can buy tickets online. You can check RSRR Productions Theatre page on Facebook or Instagram for more information on how to do that online purchase. But an exciting time. 2 productions going bam, bam, and also running simultaneously. Nikki Crosby, 50-ish and hot AF. You should not miss that. It is hilarious. It is hilarious. Trust me. And of course, that's an adults only production. And coming soon after that, a following weekend would be Bacchanal, Bob Ball, and Bad Behavior. So that is going to be also a riot. You're going to be full of entertainment for the month of October. Trust me. Have a fantastic day, whatever you do, and remember to smile and laugh. It's great for your health.
You have a great day. Be safe. Hydrate.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, you have a great one. Of course, I do have a rebroadcast coming up right after our 8 o'clock news. Of course, we do have a Kiss Power choice for you as well. Yeah. All right.